Hi there, welcome to episode 73. I'm Russ, on board sailing vessel Tautog. We are currently located on the east bank of the St. Johns River, about 5 miles south of Jacksonville. My intention is to linger here a few more days and then move into the marina in downtown Jacksonville for final water tank fill up and final provisioning from the grocery stores there, and then I'm going to shove off. So that may not happen until after the weekend. I'm not quite sure about that. But what I've been up to is, well, when we left off in episode 72, I had just dropped the anchor in Plumber's Cove, and I have since looked at the charts, and I made some plans to move the boat from place to place, so I'll show you that real quick. Then some of the project work I've done on the boat. So I should point out that on the boat itself, I have kind of minimized my actual work. I mean, a lot of the bulk project work is complete, and I had a few lingering jobs I wanted to finish, but I only work until about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then I dog off for the day. And I spent my afternoons and early evenings every day studying charts and pilot charts and the weather patterns and all that to prepare for my next trip. I want to be prepared to go anywhere from the Bahamas to the Virgin Islands, and even some of the Florida ports I'm reviewing, just in case I should have to turn back someplace further south. You just never know. So I want to kind of get mentally prepared for any possible outcome. That's what I'm spending my time doing. I found that if I waited until the evening, I would just get sleepy and I'd fall asleep and I wouldn't read anything. So that's what I've been up to. So this video is going to roll now. I'll show you the planning we did to pick up the anchor and move to a new Anchorage. Then we'll roll into a quick look at some of the small projects I've been working on, and then we'll close this video out. So that's it. So enjoy. And I am taking shelter here in Plumber's Cove, and that's about the only decent spot on the entire darn river where you'll get protection from northern winds. And I'm almost grateful for the northern winds in a way, because yesterday the winds were primarily out of the northwest. When I got here they were southwest, and they clocked around to the west, a little bit northwest, but yesterday they were blowing pretty briskly. And then being here is almost worse, because you get almost like an acceleration of the wind as it whips around this little small cape. I mean, it's not really a cape, but it would be a cape on the open sea. And you can see I spent most of my day yesterday kind of spinning on the anchor back here, and now I'm back down here, which is a good thing. And the seas are much, much flatter for me than they were yesterday. The wind is still cold and it's still brisk, but it's coming from this way, so I don't get a lot of fetch. So we talked about fetch. Fetch is really the distance between here and where you're at. So how much space do the waves have to build up? It would be worse for somebody who is down here. Even if the anchor in similar conditions bottom-wise, the waves will build up as they get further south. The longer the fetch, the worse it can be. And that's why I picked this spot, because I knew we were going to have north winds today and most of tomorrow. And after that, it should warm up, the wind should die down, the winds will start coming out of the northeast like they're supposed to, and then I'm going to move into position up here. That's my planned target spot to go for the NAS air show. That is the plan. The air station is right here. That's a key bit of information. And I am in this general area. Well, I'm right there in the red triangle, which we'll zoom in a second, and I'm going to move about 1.5 miles to this area, where all the little brown balls are. So these are just markers I make for myself as a target for my anchoring. And I'm planning to leave the harbor, go way out. You don't want to cut the corner typically. That's where you find shallow water. So I'm going to go pretty far out and go up and then come back in. And I'm going to do that in another half an hour or so. It's just, frankly, I don't want to touch the cold anchor right now because it's cold out there. So that's the plan today. Yeah. Well, this is a navigation station. For a year now, I have had this in a state of a Frankenstein-looking electrical setup, and I Was embarrassed by it for a long time, but now that I've got the DC main panel complete, I thought it was a great time to go ahead and make myself a nice little cover. I did have, believe it or not, a piece of teak plywood that was off the freebie pile back in St. Petersburg, and I knew where I was going to use it. And I wanted to go ahead and cut this hole open, so really now I've got a great little access hole cut, so if I need to do any future electrical work, it'd be really, really easy to handle the wires. And that's why I did this. And this is a finished product. Okay, so bathroom lighting. We're going to end up with a light on both sides of the mirror. And this nasty old thing is going to go away. Although, I admit, it does work. You know, so... but I like this light. So the bayonet style mounts, I'm going to recover those. And the bulbs, of course, I saved. And the switch seems to work. So I'm going to actually save these components and try to get them in a really nice looking light for the overhead in the main cabin. There will be times when it's not sunny out and maybe at night you want a light right there, an overhead type light, or maybe the overhead light needs to be in the galley right here, and I can make a couple of the bulbs red and a couple of them white and have separate switches, see? So that's how we're going to save those parts. It's the 23rd of October. I'm in Anchorage. There's the I-295 bridge way down there. It's a few miles away, just a couple. Over here is the Naval Air Station. That's where the air show is going to be today, and that's why I'm in a new Anchorage. I'm following this guy because Pete over there on board Grace, he has been here for quite a while, and he knew that this is exactly the spot over which the jets are going to fly. So I should have a pretty good view, certainly a different perspective today, but for the morning I'm working on this. This is a typical gray water pump tank, guys. So in general you have a switch which operates a bilge pump, and it's really no different than a level switch that you put in your bilge. The nasty water comes in the top three spouts. I have only two in service, one from the bathroom sink, one from the bathroom shower, and then this pumps out overboard just like a bilge pump would pump. Only problem is this unit has been flawed since I bought it. Originally the pump itself wouldn't work. It would just make a sound like jung 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 jung, and no water was pumped, and it got really smoking hot, as if the pump was physically bound. And you know, you guys have probably seen that before. A pump that can't rotate will generate a tremendous amount of heat in the electrical side. So they sent me an entire new unit, and this is the new unit, and the pump does work, but the problem is the switch doesn't work. The switch will turn on to actuate the pump, but the switch will not turn the pump off, and so the only way I could turn power off was to kill the switch. Oh gosh, I'm so frustrated. And finally, after 6 months, they finally sent me a new switch, and today's job is to wire in the new switch, throw away the old one, do some kind of, rig up some kind of testing mechanism if possible here on the boat. Not so easy when you're at anchor. And then I'm going to put it back in so I can take a shower inside my boat for a change. That would be nice. Okay, so this is the anchor fleet. It's not crazy, not like yesterday. Yesterday was much busier, and from small little boats to big boats to really, really big ones over here. That's Pete's boat with a giant flag. That's a P3 flying. I was grateful to Pete for showing us the right location to get a really good view, and we'll see that in a few minutes here. Later in the evening, we took the dinghy over to visit on Pete's boat, and we had a little social hour among a couple other cruisers, and they had a great time, and we enjoyed a beautiful, beautiful sunset like we always get out in the water. So, one of the real benefits to living this way. Yeah, so I do appreciate every moment, every sunrise, every sunset, every moonrise. I do appreciate this life, and I'm very thankful to be able to live it. And, you know, to carry on as I am doing. So no high-level complaints in any way. I mean, I would complain about the cold because it was cold. So Operation Deep Freeze was in effect for about 4 days, and I was frigid and freezing cold every morning, and I didn't care for that. But it kind of gives me that kick in the ass to get the boat moving. So, looking forward to moving. Okay, I'll put it that way. And when I did move the boat, the reason, of course, I moved it several times was to get closer and closer to the Blue Angels Air Show, and that I didn't put any clips of that yet, but they're going to follow these comments here, and I'll tell you why. Because I know a lot of people just don't care. I don't care for jet skis. I don't care for a lot of noise-making things, but for whatever reason, I like watching jets. I mean, I served on an aircraft carrier for 2 years in the military, and I even flew in the F-14 once in the back seat, and I only passed out once. And you can't vomit while you're passing out. That's one thing I learned. So I do kind of have a little special place. Some people like trains, some people like ships, and I like boats, and I like those jet aircraft and that sound that those engines make. I love it, and I'll never get tired of hearing that. So those videos, clips are going to follow these comments right here. You're under no obligation to watch them at all, of course. So take care, everybody. Take care. Be good, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, that big cloud of smoke, that's what it looks like when 4 F-18s take off at the same time. You can see them climbing to the right. Right there. My camera doesn't want to show you, probably further there. F-18 Super Hornet.